Hello everyone and welcome back to Punisher's Paintball YouTube channel. Today we are here, we've got the best high-end paintball loaders of 2025. There are a total of 6 different loaders that we are comparing today. We've got loaders from Dye, HK Army, JT Paintball, the new Carbon DRV loader, and then obviously Bunker Kings and Virtue have to be included in this comparison video. So with that said, we are going to give you guys the pros and cons of all these different loaders, try to give you guys our honest opinion, and then give you guys which one we would pick if we had to pick one if we're spending our own money. I hope that you guys enjoy this video. If you guys do, make sure that you like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys after the intro. Okay guys, so like I said, we are here. We've got a total of 6 different loaders on the market. When it comes to high-end stuff, the cheapest of these is going to be the JT Triad, coming in at $175. And we did choose to include this in the high-end loaders, so anything from $175 and up is what we're including in this. And the most expensive is going to be the new DRV loader at $300. So there is kind of a widespread when it comes to price point on these loaders, but we are here to break down each one, kind of walk you guys through it real quick, and then give you guys our honest opinion. So with that said, we're going to start with the Dye R2 loader. The Dye R2 loader has been out on the market for a long time, and it's got some cool features to it. First and foremost, this one is the used one. We've got a new one right here, but you can get quick feeds for the Dye R2, and it's a nice quick feed, and it is very simple to pop the speed feed on and off, but it is not included in the price point. So you are spending somewhere between, I think it's about $190 to like $215 for a Dye R2, depending upon what color you want. They do have some really stylish designs. But with that said, you are going to be spending extra money with the quick feed. Another nice feature that Dye touts with the R2 is the fact that you can extend your capacity with the R2 loader. So there is a tab on the back side. It does go left and right, and for different reasons, but if you go left with it, you can lift and actually expand the capacity of the Dye R2 loader all the way to 260 balls as compared to the 200 balls when the shell is collapsed. And then disassembly on this is definitely a little bit more challenging compared to disassembly of some of the other loaders on the market. Okay, so I collapsed it, and we're gonna slide it to the right and then pop it off. There we go, we were able to get it that time. So there are 2 tabs here. This one's a little dirty on the inside. There are 2 tabs here. Those are going to lift, and then this top portion pops off, and there's about 4 or 5 different moving parts on the inside of the Dye R2, whereas some of these is just strictly a tray. So disassembly on this is definitely, in my opinion, a con to the R2, but there are some other pros to the R2 as well, which includes the overall feed rate. So the feed rate on the Dye R2 is high. You can get somewhere between 25 to 30 balls a second. It's used a lot upon the mech side of things. So that is nice when you're talking about mech play. It does feed based upon tension, so it builds tension in the drive stack, so you do get those high rates of fire with the Dye R2 loader. Okay, so next up, we've now got the HK Army TFX3 loader, and this is going to come in at a price point of right around $180 for the TFX3. It is offered in a bunch of different colors as well, and once again has some pretty cool features about it that we'll talk about here in just a split second. It does come with a speed feed already installed, which is a nice value add for the TFX3. It is a 180 round capacity, but can actually size up to 230 rounds, which is a nice feature. As you guys can see here, you can pop this portion in if you want the expander to make it 230 rounds. Speed feed there. You also do get a rain lid with it, which is a nice touch. And opening the speed feed is a pretty easy thing to do. And speed feed is spring loaded, which is nice. TFX3 is going to be an eye sensing mechanism there, and overall profile of it is pretty small. It actually kind of reminds me of a Spire when it comes to the profile. Opening the loader up is not too difficult. You're just going to lift the lid here, and I believe you press up, and the top shell just pops off like that. On the inside here, you do have the kind of like a spring ramp design, similar to the Virtue loader. and fully charged capacity, fully charged battery before play. And then on the top here, this just releases your tray. This is all plastic, which is nice, and all of the electronics and everything is right here. It is a rechargeable battery that is USB-C, guys, right here on the front to plug that in, and overall charge is pretty good on the TFX3 as far as how long it lasts, and it is an eye mechanism similar to the Spire IR2 or the Bunker King's control loader. Pretty tried and true mechanism when it comes to that. So yeah, guys, a couple nice features with the TFX3. I like the fact that there is that expandable capacity with the TFX3, anywhere from 180 rounds as you see it now, and then you can expand it another 50 balls if you want to do that. It does have the rechargeable battery, and it comes with a cord, which is a nice feature. It already features a speed feed with the rain lid, which is also a nice touch. Price point on it is good. So the question would become, you know, like, there's a lot of things going on here as far as value goes, and what we found is that when it comes to HK loaders, there are some issues with overall reliability. I personally have never used one, so I can't attribute that, but we do have customers that have had really good experiences, and we've had customers that they've had issues with reliability with the TFX3. And I think that, but I will say this, I think everything that you're getting, it is definitely a possible nice value option when it comes to the high-end loaders for the TFX3. Okay, so next up, guys, we are going to talk about the JT Triad. This is going to be one of the cheaper price points in the market between the TFX3 and this, and you are going to get a lot of similar features compared to the TFX3 out of the JT Triad. There's been a lot of drama associated with the Triad when it was first released. There was the version 1 that was released, what was that, probably 2 years ago, Cody, somewhere in there?
Probably maybe longer.
Yeah, it's been a long time. JT did the right thing. There was some issues with the initial release between feeding as well as overall battery capacity with the Triad. So JT actually pulled it from the market, and they spent another year and a half doing the right thing and trying to adjust it. So we now have the version 2, and the version 2 has fixed all those issues when it comes to that, and it comes in at a really good price point at that $175 price point. So we're going to open this up. And one thing that I'd like to mention is that the Triad is definitely a larger loader compared to some of these other loaders, but you are going to get, I believe it's a 215 round capacity. Oh, it says 200, excuse me, around 200 for the Triad, but it's definitely a little bit larger. It's longer. It is thinner from a profile perspective, but overall I like the way that the Triad looks, and I like the way that it fits on my loader. So I have been a Triad fan since the beginning, and I think that they've done the right thing by fixing the issues. It does come with a built-in speed feed. The speed feed, just to access the speed feed, you just pop open the rain lid on the top here, and boom, there you are. And then rain lid, just simply, there's a portion in the front you push in, and same thing on the back. I think I did that backwards actually. Get to the back portion here first, and we're just going to push that in. So really simple to get the rain lid on and off for the Triad. And then opening it up is pretty simple. So there's a yellow tab on the inside. You're just going to push that down, and then there's a button. The top tray comes off. Triad also comes with a spring ramp. Nice feature there. And it is, I believe, magnetic loaded. It is. So everything just pops off. Very simple there. Pops back in, and it's magnetic, and the tray stays in place. So when it comes to the Triad, it does have dual mechanisms when it comes to sensing. So it does have an eye system, and also has like a vibration sensing mechanism. So you are going to get that dual sense technology, which out of all these loaders, I think the only other one that does that is the Virtue Spire 5. So that is, in my opinion, a premium feature with the Triad. And overall, high rates of fire with the Triad, so I've seen them being used in mechanical play as well for good reason, and I think overall the Triad is definitely a good option. I think cons with the version 2 of the Triad is I have seen a few people still having issues with as far as feeding, and I think the other con would be the overall size and weight of the Triad. And last but not least, I did have one customer come to me at an event probably about a week or two ago where one of the batteries was just slightly shifting on the inside, and when it was shifting it was actually causing the loader to turn off, and he said that it was basically a brand new loader and he was having issues with it. So all these loaders, guys, are going to have issues, but we are here to explain to you our cons and our pros with both and be transparent and honest with you guys. I've used the Triad personally. I actually have the version 1, and besides running out of battery, I never had any issues with jamming or anything else like that. Next up, we have the Carbon DRV loader. This is the newest loader out of all these loaders. It actually isn't technically public yet, but we did get our hands on one, and this is also going to be the most expensive loader. So what do you get for the extra expense? Well, first and foremost, as you guys can see, you actually get a molded case, which is a nice touch. It is going to retail at a price point of $299.95, and they should be shipping relatively soon. We're filming this in July of 2025, so they should be out relatively soon. And right now they're just sending them to their sponsor teams. We're going to set the case aside here, and the DRV is got a lot of new interesting features to it. So first and foremost, as you can see aesthetically, it's a little bit different than the rest of the loaders. Is missing this top portion here, and the reason for that, Carbon explained to me, was the fact that there's just no functionality for the front portion, so they took it away. It does come with the speed feed, similar to pretty much all these other loaders, except for I think pretty much the die loader is the only one that doesn't have an included speed feed for the price point. And then it's going to open very similar with a tab there. You're going to open it up, and then it does have a hinge mechanism similar to the Spire 5 that opens, and then you've got your tray on the inside, spring ramp. Overall capacity of it's going to be right around, I believe, 200 paintballs, and this is the only one that's going to offer an OLED screen. So Cody, are you zoomed in right now? So when you turn it on, you do get live information on what's going on with the loader. That is a nice premium feature with the Carbon DRV, and you can actually adjust your overall feed rate with it, or feed sensitivity. So if you want the highest rate of feed sensitivity, you are going to be able to do that. And let's see, what else can you adjust on there? It does have a game timer, which is a nice feature. If you are trying to keep track of things, you have a game timer, and if you want it on your loader, and say you're using a mechanical marker that doesn't have or mechanical or electronic marker that doesn't have a game timer, you can do it from the loader, which is a nice feature, a premium feature that the other loaders do not have. It is rechargeable battery. Carbon is saying a total of right around 30,000 shots. Is a USB-C, similar to the TFX. Tray mechanism is nice. It's consolidated. Everything is there. The shell is plastic, so once again, it is going to be very simple to maintenance that, clean it. The shell is made out of a nylon material that is going to be very durable, and it has a metal feed neck, so any chance of having a shell that cracks kind of dissipates out of the consideration for the drive loader. So the drive is definitely going to offer some nice features. The pros there are going to be the OLED screen, obviously, as well as the molded case. One thing with the drive loader right now, I don't think that it is going to have an expandable capacity, so you are going to get just that 200 round capacity. I'm not sure if Carbon is planning on doing a top shell that's larger, but basically you are kind of stuck with that 200 round capacity, similar to the Triad, whereas with the TFX3 and the Die R2, you get two different capacities in one loader. Before we move on to the Bunker Kings control, a few potential cons that we could see with the Carbon drive loader before I get too far into the mix here. First and foremost, the price point is high, $299.95. You do get the built-in speed feed as well as the rain lid with it. You do get the case. and you get the OLED screen. So those are some nice features, but it is coming in at the highest price point out of any of these. So that is a potential con to the DRV loader. And then from a reliability perspective, we just haven't had enough time to test the DRV loader. In our testing that we've done so far with the DRV loader, when we tried to turn the sensitivity all the way up, we were having issues with it trying to unjam. But when we turned the sensitivity down, we were able to get very high rates of fire, anywhere from about 22, right around 22 balls a second with the DRV loader consistently on a CS2 and CS3, where it was basically just one straight stream for a full loader, and that was nice. So just something to keep in mind with the DRV loader. I think that for the best loaders of 2026, we'll have a better idea of where it stands when it comes to reliability for the DRV. Next up, guys, we are going to talk about the Bunker Kings Control 2s. This is definitely one of the most popular high-end loaders on the market for good reason. It is the Bunker King / Virtue reliability that a lot of people tend to lean towards with the Virtue and Bunker King's brand. You are going to get an extra, you are going to get a rain lid as well as a speed feed with this, and price point on this is going to be a little bit more on the affordable side of right around 200 to 235, depending upon what color you take. I've just got a black one here, and I believe the price point on the black is right around 225. So the Control does have a few nice features. Obviously the speed feed, which I'd already mentioned. Disassembly on the Control 2 is very simple. Tab on the back here, just pop open. And then as far as the taking the tray off, just pull the tab right here, and boom, everything's right there. All your tray and electronics is right there, and then the bottom half of the bottom shell is right there. Another nice thing I'd like to mention before I forget about it is the fact that it does come with a plus 20 top shell. So I believe overall capacity when you buy it is going to be 200, but you can buy separate top shells, plus 40, plus 60, plus 80 capacity with the top shells, which makes it a little bit more affordable. And then a few things that they did include with the Control 2 compared to the Control 1 is you do get the dual spring ramps here, so back portion here, front portion here, to push everything into the drive cone. Drive cone has been minimized there, so there's no portion standing up here anymore, and they turned the motor vertical, or I guess that'd be horizontal, to fit into the drive cone, and they tout that it's supposed to help with overall feed consistency and feed rate. And that's something that we'll talk about here in a second, and the cons. And then it is a eye mechanism system only, which is similar to the Spire IR2 when it comes to the Virtue level of technology. Okay guys, so yeah, for $225, the Control 2 is definitely a good option. Lots of people like the profile of it. It does stand relatively short on the loader, or on the on your marker, and it's a little bit wider to pick up that extra capacity. Reliability on the Control 2 is going to be good. I think that's the majority of the reason why it's one of the most popular marker or loaders on the market, is because it really never fails, which is a nice thing. Cons for the Control 2 is that I think the overall build quality of the shell is a little bit less than, say, the Spire 5 or some of these other shells tend to be a little bit more durable. I have seen Control 2 shells crack around the feed neck before, which is kind of a discouragement. I do like the fact that they moved the battery to the back as compared to the bottom with the Control 1. I like the fact that you can get different capacities if you want different capacities, and it's very simple to change out the top shell if you want to do that. Overall feed rate on the Control 2 is not going to be the best. You're only going to get somewhere between 12 to 15 balls per second max with the Control 2 when you actually put it on a loader, and in our testing that's all we were able to get, whereas you are going to get higher feed rates with the JT Triad, the DR2, and the Carbon DRV. TFX, we haven't really done a lot of testing on how high feed rates are. Now, with that said, most people are only using these loaders in the speedball side of things. Well, I mean, they're using it on scenario side of things, but on the speedball side of things, when they're using it, they're only shooting 10 balls a second. and 10 balls a second it will do consistently with no problems. So that's something to keep in mind. Okay, last but not least, guys, we have the Virtue Spire 5. The Spire 5 has been released for probably about a year or two as well, and is a little bit technically older than the Control 2, but has some nice features to it. So let's get straight into it. So price point on the Spire 5, depending upon what color you choose, is going to be anywhere from like $200, $205, all the way up to $265. They have a bunch of different varieties when it comes to the colors, which is a nice touch. I've got the camo here, you've got a black right there, we've got an entire display case that's got a bunch of different colors. 220 balls overall capacity on the Spire 5. Profile on the Spire 5 is going to be really good. It's going to be kind of short here, but it's going to be a little bit longer to pick up that extra capacity. And you know, it's definitely wider than, say, the Triad or some of these other loaders, or even the Carbon DRV loader. It does have a hinge mechanism. Well, actually, let me touch on the speed feed real quick. It does come with the new Crown SF3 speed feed, as well as the rain lid and an extra finger for this. The speed feed is open, opens easily. This pops open and clicks back into place. That's also a nice feature, and you can actually replace the fingers on the Spire 5 very simply in case you do have one that breaks. Opening the Spire 5 has a lock mechanism so that it's not, once you're clicked in, if you try and press it, you actually have to pull it down to open up the hinge mechanism. It doesn't open as far as the new DRV loader, which I do like. That is a nice feature on the DRV loader. And taking the tray out, in my opinion, is probably the favorite out of all these, because it does have like an actual finger tab back here, which is nice. And then the tray does hold all the electronics. Once again, you know, this is all plastic, so everything electronic is right here. Nice part about the Spire 5 is that it is dual sense technology, so it has what's called a accelerometer to it, which is basically a vibration sensing mechanism, and then it also has the eye system similar to the Control 2, so you do get both those features on the Spire 5. Popping the tray back in is very simple. And another thing I'd like to mention is that their Virtue N charge can fit in the Spire 5, it can fit in the Control 2, and it can also fit in the Die R2, which is a nice feature. All right, guys, so pros with the Spire 5 is probably the reliability behind the Spire 5. I've had a Spire 5 for probably about 2 years now. I can't think of one instance where I've ever had an issue with the Spire 5. The shell is a very solid shell. It seems a little bit more solid than, say, the Control 2, but all the other shells seem to be kind of on the same plane level. The Control 2 seems to be a little bit more flimsy. I like the profile of the Spire 5. I like the weight of the Spire 5. But the main reason why a lot of people choose the Spire 5 is because of the overall reliability. Now, cons on the Spire 5. First and foremost, if you want a black Spire 5, you are going to be spending closer to that $300 price point of the DRV loader. So that's number one. And the number two is just overall feed rate. So going back to the feed rate thing, you won't see a lot of mechanical players or people that are trying to shoot very high rates of fire using the Spire 5, but you will see a lot of tournament players using the Spire 5, because one thing that it does, and does extremely well, is feed that 10 balls a second. All right, guys, so that was a complete mouthful, and I appreciate if you guys have stuck with me this entire way. That obviously means that you guys are probably in the market for one of these bad boys. You want to spend some decent money on these loaders. There's really no bad option when it comes to these, but we are here to talk about which one we feel is the best for 2025. So I think that a lot of these are feature rich. There's different features that I like about every different loader here. I actually like the mechanical shark fin of the Die R2, and the fact that you can expand the capacity very easily with the Die R2. That is a nice feature. I also like the designs on the Die R2 probably the best. The TFX3, I like the rechargeable battery. I like how small of a profile it is. It has one of the better speed feeds, if you ask me. And I like the fact that you can expand the capacity if you want to. Price point on the TFX3 is going to be one of the better price points on the market, so that is nice. TFX3 as well as the Triad is going to be, you know, two of the cheaper options when it comes to these. And then the Triad, I like the fact that it does offer dual sense technology, and cons for the Triad is just the size and For me personally, it doesn't bother me too much, but I have had people make the comment to me that it is larger. I'm a bigger guy, so it doesn't really tend to bother me as much. But I do like the DualSense technology, and you can get extremely high rates of fire with the Triad, and it does have the rain lid. I'd say or the rain lid and the speed feed, but I would say out of all the different speed feeds, this is probably the flimsiest of the speed feeds. The carbon DRV loader is still kind of like, you know, it's the question mark on this comparison, just because we haven't had a lot of time to test it. It does have that nice speed feed. It does come with the rain lid as well as the charging. It has the molded case. It has the OLED screen. It does high rates of fire very well. And it does come in at also the highest price point. So con there would be the price point and probably the overall lack of colors. I know that they are going to be releasing different colors, but so I will be curious to see what the reliability is there. And then the other con for me is the price point, as well as aesthetically. I don't think it's the best looking loader, but to some people that might matter, to other people it might not. Virtue Spire 5, tried and true. Definitely good reliability, but con to the Spire 5 is going to be the price point, as well as the overall feed rate on the Spire 5 is not going to be great. You're going to average somewhere between probably 12 to 13 balls a second on top of a loader. So if you're trying to play mechanical, it's probably not the best option in this group of loaders. And then Control 2, it's going to be cheaper than the Spire 5 in some ways, but it only has one sensing technology with the eye system. And so for me, for that, I don't believe that it's as good as the Spire 5, but a lot of people like the profile of the Control 2. One thing that I do like about the Control 2 though is how simple it is to take off that top shell and change the overall capacity. If you purchase the plus 40 or the plus 60 shell or the plus 80 shell, you can get a difference in capacity, and it's easier to swap that than I would say even the Die R2, between the 200 round capacity and 260 round capacity of the R2. So for that reason, for right now, I think your best value option out of this loader, out of these loaders, I would say is actually the JT Triad. Coming in at $175, you do get the speed feed, you get the DualSense technology, you get the spring ramp. It is a larger loader, but I think that they've fixed a lot of issues with the feeding and all that stuff and the battery capacity with the JT Triad. For $175, you are getting a lot of the premium features that you do with the, say, the DRV or the Spire 5 or Control 2, but you're not spending as much money there. And then overall, just if I had to pick one, I'm gonna pick the Spire 5 when it comes to playing speedball. If I had to pick one to go out and play recreationally, I'm going to try the DRV loader. And the reason I say that is because you are going to get higher rates of fire, and pretty much everything Carbon makes usually tends to last, and quality control is there. And I like the extra, you know, the OLED screen for the game timer if I'm playing a big game. And I like the high rates of fire, and I like the case. Cody,
yeah,
I've rambled a lot. What's your opinion on this if you had to pick one or two? Or
if I had to pick one to actually spend my money on, a colored version of the Spire 5 at whatever it was like.
Right now they're on sale for, some of the colors are on sale, $199.95 to $205.
So there you go. You can it's almost the cheapest option, but you get the Spire 5 reliability. Now the coolest one is probably the DRV. I mean, you get a screen, you get the case, you get, I mean, the high rates of the speed is ridiculous.
The speed is ridiculous.
Yeah. For the money, I'd go with the Triad. I mean, it's $175, and it's, I mean, you get the high end, you get the dual sensing. I'm pretty sure it's AA also.
It is AA. It's 3
so
AAs.
There you go. It's the same as your gun, and you get the speed feed and the rain lid.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I agree with that, Cody. Once again, I don't think you can go wrong with any of these options. They all kind of have their things that make them unique, which is kudos to all these brands for finding a way to make all these loaders unique, because at the end of the day, you're feeding paintballs, so how do you make these things stand out from each other? So yeah, guys, there you guys have it. I really hope that you guys enjoy this video. Best paintball loaders of best high-end paintball loaders of 2025. Stay tuned. We're going to be doing other comparison videos, Punisher's Picks videos on all these, give you guys our honest opinion. So with that said, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys with the next video.